There's very few games I've played that I would describe as genuinely cool, games that feel effortlessly sure of themselves. The digital equivalent of your mate Tal, who wears 80s band t-shirts underneath vintage chethered shirts, skinny jeans and grey combat boots. He has a moustache that he's somehow capable of pulling off, and he smokes rolly cigarettes, but not in a sad, addicted kind of way. I mean, sure, he's definitely addicted. He does it all the time and he can barely finish a sentence without coughing, but god damn it when he lights one up outside the pub, it makes you realise why everyone used to do it back in the 50s. Look at this guy. If I wash my hair too close to when I go to bed, I end up looking like the prick loser for the entirety of the next day, but Tal can probably wash his hair whenever he wants and it makes no difference. He just gets up, listens to some 80s synth, rolls himself a tab, and gets on with his day. Looking cool. God, he's cool. He's so goddamn cool! Most games attempt to be cool like Tal. Lovely Tal. But it's a hard thing to get right. If you force it, it's obvious, and no one actually cool wants to let on that they're actively trying to be cool. You know who tries to be cool? Tim. Tim wears a leather jacket and smokes menthols. Alright Tim, we did it. You watch Riverdale. Fuck off. Evoking cool in a video game is a subtle art form. It's as much about allowing the player to do cool things as it is about building a cool world. Not that kind of cool world, or creating a distinct audio and visual style. Take Hotline Miami, for example. Its thumping synthwave soundtrack and abrasive, colourful visuals may be the elements that have stuck with players in the 7 years since its release, but it can't be understated how Hotline Miami feels to play. The crunch of smashing an enemy's skull with a baseball bat, the speed in which your masked protagonist zips from room to room, avoiding bullets and outmanoeuvring enemies in order to get the upper hand, the thrill of overcoming overwhelming odds, massacring your way through a series of tightly designed rooms, painfully aware of the one-hit death that awaits you at any given moment, simultaneously weak but aggressively dangerous, a genuine force of blood-spilling destruction. 7 years later, and for me, Hotline Miami still serves as the template for cool games to be based upon. Thrilling, sinister, weird, and cool. I genuinely never thought it could be matched. Yet, here we are. Katana ZERO is very, very cool. It looks cool, it sounds cool, but most importantly, it feels cool. A worthy successor to Hotline Miami and a near flawless experience in its own right. Players assume the role of the Dragon, a Kamishimo-wearing, katana-wielding killer for hire. It's your job to visit various locations around the grimy dystopian city of District 3, slaughtering henchmen in order to reach your assigned target. After a mission, the Dragon attends his morning therapy sessions in order to discuss his most recent contract, his recurring nightmares, and to pick up a new dossier detailing his next mission. Katana ZERO is a gorgeous pixel art action platformer that plays like the glorious mix between Dead Cells and Hotline Miami. Combat is simple but efficient. The Dragon can jump, perform an evasive roll, slash with his katana, and pick up objects within the levels themselves to use as deadly one-off projectiles. He's a nimble warrior, capable of killing the majority of his adversaries with one fatal hit. The problem? He's a weak little baby boy, and can only sustain one hit of his own before it's game over. Thankfully, the Dragon's therapist provides him with a daily injection of a time-altering drug, one that allows him to repeatedly tackle a room from the start in the unfortunate case of him taking a bullet to the brain. The drug also grants the Dragon the ability to slow down time to a crawl, allowing him to deflect said bullet away from his own brain and directly into someone else's instead. Deflecting a bullet in slow motion is the coolest goddamn thing. Holy shit, I love it so much. Look at this. Christ, I need to lie down. Your ability to alter time is limited, but refills quickly enough to be a staple part of your arsenal. As essential to your survival as your trusty blade. Seriously though, dodging bullets in slow motion, throwing knives into people's heads, it's just magical. Look at this. Oh my days. Similar to Hotline Miami and this year's excellent Ape Out, Katana ZERO features self-contained spaces that serve as aggressively violent puzzle boxes. Death may not be a failure in the traditional sense, but being sent back to the start of a particularly expansive screen is a punishment in of itself. The trick is to approach each series of rooms carefully, taking advantage of destructible floors, doors, throwable objects and enemy patrol patterns in order to navigate them in such a way that leaves a pile of corpses behind, without the Dragon taking as much as a scratch. The whole gameplay loop is thrilling. Every action you perform has weight and energy behind it, blood splattering against the wall as you work your way towards your target. You will die, a lot, but it doesn't matter. Each attempt brings with it a new plan, a fresh understanding of the optimal route, and takes you one step closer to the elusive net screen. Completing an area rewards you with a grainy CCTV recording of your exploits, minus the constant manipulation of time itself, similar to those found within Superhot. There's nothing quite like seeing the Dragon charge through a level in one seamless attempt to truly cement the feeling of being a powerful force of unstoppable brutality. That's not to say the Dragon is a one-dimensional murder machine. Far from it. Outside of the blood-soaked missions, the Dragon returns home to his dilapidated dilapidated apartment building in order to drink herbal tea and watch the news. It's here, in the game's quieter moments, where the Dragon interacts with his neighbour's young daughter, his therapist, and various other complex characters within a number of other oppressive locations, that the game truly shines. Dialogue is performed via a Telltale style system where players are given a finite amount of time in order to provide a response. Selecting a response before being prompted results in you interrupting their sentence, literally smashing their text bots into bits, and usually triggering a completely different dialogue tree as a result. Considering the simplistic and arcadey nature of the gameplay, there's a surprising amount of narrative depth to be found here. Evoking 80s sci-fi action flicks like Robocop and Blade Runner, Katana ZERO delivers a slotty neon-soaked story within a grime-smeared world. The Dragon is a veteran of a recent war, a soldier who fought for a country that committed horrific atrocities against women and children and lost as a result. The war hands over the inhabitants of District 3, a fresh wound felt by the society as a whole. The Dragon's time-altering abilities come as a result of a drug addiction, too, your therapist's needle warping and distorting time as you stave off withdrawal with another hit. The concept of time itself also plays an integral role, the Dragon never truly feeling grounded within reality as a result of his drug-induced powers. These mature themes may not culminate to much. The game's story is fairly light-hearted and fun, but its depiction of PTSD and drug addiction adds an additional layer to what could have very easily just been a stylish glamorization of mass murder. The Dragon may do bad things, but that doesn't make him a bad person, and your influence on his journey allows you to connect with him in ways I didn't expect to be able to when I first started playing the game. I genuinely cared about him by the end of my 5-hour playtime, and I'm willing to bet you will too. Aesthetically, Katana ZERO is stunning. Its pixel art is gorgeously designed and dripping with atmosphere. Every scene is carefully lit, colour is used sparingly but to great effect, and despite its retro design, manages to convey a sense of place staggeringly well. Likewise, its cast of characters are wonderfully expressive and meticulously animated. The attention to detail is, quite frankly, remarkable. The way the Dragon sheaths his blade, the way the therapist pushes his glasses back up to the bridge of his nose, the way a dying enemy slouches comically onto their knees. It's wonderful. Truly wonderful. Then there's the music, a flood of synthwave beats that the Dragon listens to on his tape player, clicking the mechanical buttons at the start of every level. It's a stellar soundtrack, one that warps and twists alongside the game's time-bending gameplay. I loved Katana ZERO. I'm unsure if I've made that obvious enough. I loved its tight, thrilling gameplay and carefully designed difficulty curve. I loved its beautiful aesthetic that helps build a believable world. I loved its story, filled with complex characters and its schlotty 80s sci-fi tropes. I loved Katana ZERO, and if you like games that are as cool as my mate Cal, then I guarantee that you'll love it too. Hey, thanks for watching. This is a 7 out of 10 review. If you like this and you're new to the channel, why don't you hit subscribe? You can also like this video and you can also leave me a comment telling me what you think of Katana ZERO. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon. I don't know why I'm ending this video in such a calm, upbeat way. That's not really my style. Can I end this without making a self-deprecating joke? Probably not, because I'm trash. Oh, I did it! I did it anyway!